Hi there, and welcome to the Dokeys crochet tutorial for creating these 3 adorable dinos. We have our baby Bronto, our T-Rex, and our Pterodactyl. For these 3 dinos, you will need to know a number of stitches. Starting with, you will need a single crochet, increase, decrease, our magic ring alternative, chain, treble bobble stitch, double crochet, and slip stitch. If you're new to any of these stitches, feel free to go and watch the tutorial videos on this same page on the top, or you can find them on the tutorials page of our website. If you're using the Dokeys crochet kit to create these, you'll have all the required materials. Otherwise, the materials you will need are some stitch markers, some yarn needles, a hook, your safety eyes, some stuffing, and additionally you will need some scissors. And then you will have all 4 colors of yarn in there as well. Alright, we're going to go ahead and get started with the baby Bronto. If you want to start with another one, you're welcome to kind of jump throughout the video, but I'm going to start with the baby Bronto today. So go ahead and grab your cherry slush red yarn and we will get started. Alright, we're going to start with creating the body. And we're going to start with our magic ring alternative. So to start the magic ring alternative, I like to take my yarn and wrap it in an X around my fingers, with the working yarn going back. Taking my hook, I'm going to go underneath this first part of the X right here, grab the working yarn and pull it under, and then twist my hook to create a loop. Then I'm going to go under the working yarn again, pull up another loop. And then I'm going to use my index finger to hold the yarn tight to the hook while I release it and pull on that yarn tail a little bit. And that's going to create our slip knot and a chain 1. Then we're going to yarn over to create another chain. And now we have our chain 2. And then in that second chain from the hook, or the first chain that we did, we're going to start with 8 single crochets. So you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. And repeat that 7 times for a total of 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. I'm going to go ahead and place my stitch marker. Oops. Creases. So I'll go ahead, and an increase is just 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Move that stitch marker up. Alright, round number 3 is going to be a single crochet and then an increase, and we're repeating those 2 steps 8 times. So single, then an increase, number 1, single, and increase number 2, single, increase number 3, single, increase 4, single, increase 5, single, increase 6, single, increase 7, single, increase number 8. Alright, move that stitch marker up. Alright, round number 4 is going to be 2 single crochets and then an increase, repeating it 8 times. So 1, 2, increase, 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 1, 2, increase. Alright, move that stitch marker. Alright, rounds 5 and 6 are just 32 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Round 6 is going to be the same thing, 32 single crochets. Alright, make sure that you're turning your piece so that you have the right side facing out, and you should have the beginning yarn tail in the inside. Alright, move that stitch marker. Okay, round 7 is going to be 2 single crochets and a decrease, and we're repeating that 8 times. So 1, 2, and then I'm doing an invisible decrease, but you can just do a regular decrease if that's easier for you, or you can do whatever you want. Alright, move that stitch marker. Alright, round number 8 is a single crochet and a decrease, just repeat it 8 times. So single, decrease, 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 single, decrease. Move that stitch marker up. And I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of stuffing to it right now, just so that way it's not so hard to stuff in a little bit when it's a little more shut. I'm not going to like totally fill it full with stuffing, just enough. And remember, when you're stuffing, you want to put your fingers in the middle and push the stuffing out to the edges to make sure that we're filling everything in the right way. All right, so we'll start with that. Get it back in. All right, round number 9 is just 8 decreases. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8. Alright, go ahead and just take the stitch marker out at this point. And then we're going to fasten it off just with a slip stitch. Alright, we're going to grab just a little more stuffing to just kind of give it a little more of a shape. There we go. It's better. Alright. And then we are going to thread our yarn tail through a yarn needle. And we're going to close up this hole. So the way you do it is you take your yarn needle and you're going to insert it into the front loops only of all of those decreases that we just did. And as you go through all the front loops and pull tight, you will see them slow, like as you pull it, the hole will slowly start to close. Even if the hole looks closed, make sure you go into all the front loops just to really make sure that it's nice and tight. And then I like to just finish off by sticking my yarn needle in and then just bringing it out somewhere on the body just to kind of help secure it in there so it's not going to come out, break off or anything. Cut it off, and now you have the baby Bronto body. So let's go ahead and move on to the legs. We're going to make 4 of these. And we're going to start with our magic ring alternative again. And we're going to do 8 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then I'm not going to use a stitch marker for the legs just because they're so small and it gets really tight, but if you need to, go for it. Alright, so for rounds 2, 3, and 4, we're just doing 8 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then after the first round I like to flip it. I don't forget and doesn't get difficult. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Alright, and then one more round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Alright, go ahead and slip stitch to fasten off, leaving a little bit of a yarn tail so that we can sew it on later. And we're not going to stuff the legs. So let me toss it to the side. And we're going to create 3 more legs, and we're just doing that exact same thing. So sing our magic ring with 8 single crochets, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 3 rounds of just 8 single crochets. Round 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, slip stitch to fasten off. Alright, 2 more legs. All right, next up is the tail. So we're going to start with our magic ring alternative. This time we're doing 4 single crochets in it though. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then round 2 is going to be a single crochet and an increase, just repeating it twice. Again, I'm not using a stitch marker because it's really tiny, but if you need to, go for it. Single, increase, single, increase, and then make sure that you try and flip it as early as possible just to make it easier on yourself. But if you need to wait and do it in a second, you totally can as well. Alright, and then round number 3 is going to be 2 single crochets and then an increase, and we're just repeating it twice. So 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, increase. Alright, fasten it off again with a slip stitch. Leave a small tail for sewing. Alright, now we're good to move on to the head and the neck. Alright, so to start the head, we're going to start with our magic ring alternative. And we're going to be doing 6 single crochets for this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and then round number 2, we're going to be doing 6 increases. So place your stitch marker, and then, whoops. Increase number 1, increase number 2, increase number 3, increase number 4, increase 5, increase number 6. Right, move that stitch marker. Right, round 3 is going to be a single crochet and an increase, and we're repeating it 6 times. Put my stitch marker on the wrong stitch. Alright, so single, increase, single, increase, single, increase, single, increase, single, increase, single, increase. Right, go ahead with the stitch marker. Then round number 4 is 2 single crochets and an increase, and we're repeating it 6 times. So 1, 2, increase, 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 1, 2, increase. All right, rounds 5 and 6, we're just doing 24 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Alright, then round 6, same thing, 24 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Alright, and then round number 7, we're doing 2 single crochets and a decrease. We're repeating that 6 times. So 1, 2, decrease, 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 1, 2, decrease. Right. Round number 8 is going to be a single crochet and a decrease, and we're repeating it 6 times again. So single, decrease, single, decrease, single, decrease, single, decrease, single, decrease, single, decrease. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and place the safety eyes right now and start stuffing it. So for our baby Bronto, you're going to be using the bigger size of the eyes. And we're going to be placing them between rounds 5 and 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I like to just place one on that round first, just wherever I want. And then we're going to base the other one off of it. So for round number 9, you're doing decreases all around here and then 2 single crochets right here. So you're going to imagine that back here by the stitch marker is going to be the back of the neck. So you want to kind of place them on the sides there. And I like to kind of just go like right over the top of the head, so they're almost like even spacing on both sides, roughly. And go ahead and grab the backs. Come on. Alright, and then we're gonna add just a little bit of stuffing right now, just to try and give it a shape. And that way we're not trying to stuff a ton when we've got a huge long neck. So the same thing as the body, you're going to be working from the middle outside, but first you got to kind of get a bunch in there and then just kind of push it. It's a little easier with a smaller piece like this, so. Alright. Then once you have it stuffed, we're going to keep going. And let's start round 9. So again, we're going to do our 5 decreases to start. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then finish off the round with our 2 single crochets. So 1, 2. Perfect. All right. And then for rounds 10 through 14, you're just doing single crochets all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, for round 10. And I'm just going to take the stitch marker out and just count, because it gets really tight right here with only 7. Alright, round 11, 7 single crochets again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Round 12, 7 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, round 13, 7 single crochets. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 14, 7 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, round 15, we're just gonna do 7 increases. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then remember to fasten it off with a slip stitch. Right. Leave a yarn tail. And then I'm going to go ahead and just lightly stuff the neck, just because we want it to be able to hold itself up. We don't want it to be keep flopping over. So just kind of stick some stuffing in there. And make sure you're pushing it all the way up into like the head as well. All right. Now we have all of our dino pieces complete. For our baby Bronto, we're gonna head and get to sewing. I'm gonna start with the legs just to help give it something to stand on. Alright, so we're gonna take our first leg, thread it into our yarn needle. And you can put whatever side of your body you want facing upwards, if you want where we closed facing up, or if you want the magic ring alternative. Sometimes the magic ring alternative gets a little hole, and you can sew that up if you want to, and you can just kind of sew over it. or you can use this side. So I'm gonna use this as the bottom. So we're gonna just placing our legs on. You're kind of gonna sew them. You're not gonna sew them flat on the bottom. You're kind of gonna sew them off to the sides. So I like to take extra yarn needles and just kind of stick it through like that to kind of help hold it on while I sew it in place. That way I don't have to worry about keeping it fully in place while I sew it. I can just focus on the sewing. Sometimes your stuffing might come out a little bit with the yarn. That's totally normal. We'll clean them up at the end. Alright, and then when you're done, I like to just, again, stick my yarn needle in and then pull it out some other random spot on the body, just to kind of help secure it. And then you can take that needle out. And you don't have to use that extra yarn needle. I just feel like sometimes it helps me so that I'm not trying to keep the leg in place while also trying to sew it on. I can just focus on the sewing. But if you don't want to, or it makes it more difficult for you, then just do whatever works for you. So essentially with the legs, you're kind of going to be making a square with them. So just place the next one kind of in a line with that one, just a few down, and get going again. You don't have to sew them on in a perfect circle either, just because they're the legs, so they can kind of be a little wonky. If you mess up, don't worry about it being totally perfect. And of course, this is your baby Bronto, so if you want to sew the legs in a different place than I am, feel free. It doesn't have to be exactly like mine. Each baby Bronto can be unique. This is just where I'm doing it, so if you want it to look like mine, this is where you're gonna put them. Alrighty. Next leg. Alright, luckily all of the pieces of the baby Bronto you kind of sew on in the same circular motion. So that kind of makes it a little easier to kind of get into the hang of things. Alright, once you have all 4 legs on your baby Bronto, we're gonna do, you can kind of choose if you want to do the head or the tail next. It doesn't really matter, but you get to choose which side is the front and which side is the back. So you just, it's totally up to you. It does not matter. So it looks like when I placed my legs, these back 2 are a teeny bit further apart, so I'm actually going to use that as the back. So then it's kind of angled down a little bit more, so we're going to put the tail back there. Alright. And you're kind of going to place it around round 3, whether that's like centered on round 3, just above round 3, just kind of around there. So it's like that. Again, I'm using my little yarn needle to help with my placement. Just sew it on. Alright, and I'm going to use this yarn tail to show you guys how to sew up that hole in the magic ring alternative if you want to sew that. So I'm just going to pull it forward to that. Alright, so all I'm going to do to sew it shut is pull it so that it's coming up right on the outside of round 1. And I'm just going to pull it directly opposite of that, like on the other side of the first round. And then just kind of pull it tight. And then we're just going to kind of go across the other way as well. And again, pull it tight. Alright. And then I just like to stick it in, pull it out so that it can kind of be hidden. That's how you sew it up if you want to, but you do not have to sew it up. Alright, time to sew the head on to our baby Bronto. Now the head is probably the hardest to sew on just because it's a little too big to use a yarn needle to keep it in place. And you have to make sure that the eyes are facing the right direction. So it can be a little more stressful, but you're doing the exact same way you've been doing the rest of it. So just kind of face it so that the eyes are facing forward, obviously. And you're just going to kind of place it. I like to do it a little bit higher than I did the tail. So the top of it is going to be right outside of the first round. And again, make sure that its eyes are facing the right way. And then I just like to hold it on. Get the first couple of stitches on while I'm holding it in place without moving my hand at all. And I feel like this just kind of helps it like start in the right place. That way I don't have to worry so much about it the rest of the time. So as you're going, whoops, stay. Ah. All right. So then as you're going, if you're noticing that it's kind of getting really floppy, once you've sewn most of it up, you can go ahead and take a little more stuffing. Now that it's like on, you can stuff more near the edge of the neck. Just kind of keep stuffing it. And just keep sewing. And you can keep stuffing and sewing as you go. So just keep going until you get it to the point that you like it. You can stop at any time and keep stuffing or whatever you want to do to your baby Bronto. Alright, again, once you get it finished, cut it off, and then obviously you'll have to clean up some of the stuffing and stuff that's kind of coming out, but otherwise your baby Bronto is complete. It's time to move on to the next dino. All right, let's get started on the T-Rex. Now this one is where we're going to be doing the treble bobble stitch. So if you don't know how to do that, I will be going over it briefly in the video, but if you need a more in-depth tutorial, you can go find it on our page or somewhere else, but I will be briefly going over it in this one, but we will be doing that in this dino as well as a double crochet. All right, let's get started. So we're going to start with our same magic ring alternative, and then we're going to do 8 single crochets for it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. Go ahead and place your stitch marker. All right, round 2 is going to be 8 increases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And move that stitch marker. Alright, round number 3 is a single crochet and an increase, and we're repeating it 8 times. So single, increase, 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 single, and our final increase. Alright, go ahead and move that stitch marker. Round 4, we're doing 2 single crochets and an increase, and we're repeating it 8 times. So 1, 2, increase, 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 1, 2, increase. Right, now round 5, 32 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Alright, round 6, same thing, 32 single crochets. right, round 7, same thing, 32 single crochets. All right, move that stitch marker. All right, round number 8, we're doing 2 single crochets and a decrease to start the round. And we're repeating it 4 times. So 1, 2, decrease number 1, 1, 2, decrease number 2, 1, 2, decrease number 4, 1, 2, and decrease number 4. All right, now we're going to finish off the round with 16 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All right, round number 9, we're doing a single crochet and a decrease, and we're repeating that 4 times to start the round. So, single, decrease number 1, single, decrease number 2, single, decrease number 3, single, decrease number 4. All right, and then to finish the round, we're going to do 14 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16 single crochets. All right, round number 10, we're going to just start with 4 decreases. So, decrease 1, decrease 2, decrease 3, 4. All right. And then next we're going to do 7 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, and then we're going to do a decrease. All right, and then we're going to finish out the round with 7 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, round number 11 is just 19 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Round 12, we're going to start with a single crochet. And then we're going to do 3 increases. So 1, 2, and 3. All right, next we are going to do 5 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and then we're going to do 2 decreases. So 1, 2. And then we're going to finish off the round with 6 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And move that stitch marker. Okay, round 13, we're going to start again with just 1 single crochet. And then we're going to do a single crochet and then an increase, and we're going to repeat that 3 times. So, single, increase number 1, single, increase number 2, single, increase number 3. All right, and then we're going to finish off the round with single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Right, go ahead and move the stitch marker. Okay, round 14, we're going to start with 17 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. And then to end the round, we are going to start with 2 increases. So 1 increase, 2 increase, and then 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, go ahead and move the stitch marker. Round 15, we're going to start with a single crochet and then a decrease. All right, and then this is where we're going to do our first treble bobble stitch. So let's get started. To start it, we're going to yarn over twice. So you should have 3 on your hook. And then you're going to insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. So now you should have 4 on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. So you have 3. Yarn over, pull through 2. So you have 2. All right, and then we're going to repeat all those steps until we end up with 6 loops on our hook. So yarn over twice, and we're going to insert into the same stitch that we did before, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we have 3, yarn over twice, into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we have 4, yarn over twice, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we have 5, so this should be our last time, yarn over twice, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we have 6, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 6 all at once. And it's going to kind of create a bubble that we'll really see pop once we go to the next round. All right, so once you did that one, we're going to do a single crochet and a decrease, and we're going to repeat that twice. So find the next stitch, and then single, decrease, single, decrease. As you can see, that bubble kind of popped a little bit more once we continued on. All right, so then after you did those 2, we're going to do another treble bobble stitch. So yarn over twice, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over twice, insert to the same stitch, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you have 3, yarn over twice, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we have 4, yarn over twice, insert hook, pull up a stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we have 5, last time, yarn over twice, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we have 6, yarn over, pull through them all. All right, and then we're going to do a single crochet and then a decrease, and we're going to repeat that 4 times. So single, decrease, single, decrease, single, decrease, single, decrease, and then finish off with 2 single crochets. Right. We're going to go ahead and take a second to stuff it before this hole gets really small here in a second. So grab all your stuffing, and remember, just like we did with the Bronto, you're gonna put it in and just make sure you get a good amount of stuffing in first before we start pushing it to the edges. So I like to just kind of get it all in there. And then especially with this, since the head kind of comes forward, make sure that you're pushing it into that spot on the head. Like so. And then, oh. First step actually, before we stuff. So sorry friends. We gotta add our safety eyes. So again, you'll be using the bigger of the 2 eyes. And you're gonna kind of be placing them, so obviously these are the front. And we're going to kind of place them on either side. So we're going to count down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, round 6, and we're going in between round 5 and 6. So again, I just kind of like to place them without the backs, see how I like it. If I want it more forward, more backwards, totally just depends. I kind of like mine a little more forward on this guy, so. All right, go ahead and pop those backs on. And now you can stuff it. It's kind of hard to do the safety eyes with the backs once you stuff it, so try and do those first, but if you forget, just take the stuffing out and redo it. So, all right. So remember, as we're stuffing, be sure to push it all forward. And then go ahead and add some more to the body. And this doesn't have to be your final stuffing job. This can just kind of be the basic. And then we'll finish this last round and then stuff it the rest of the way. All right, so for round 16, we're just doing 9 decreases. So, 1. And with the treble bobble, make sure that you're going with the stitches, not in the actual bubble. All right, 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right, go ahead and take that stitch marker out and then fasten off with a slip stitch. All right, so before I completely close it up, I'm just gonna add a little more stuffing just to this bottom part. So just enough to give it a little more of a shape down there before it gets completely closed. So, and then to close it, we're going to take the yarn tail, same thing that we did on the baby Bronto, and just attach it to our yarn needle. And then go through just the front loops of that last round. So and then just as you're going, you'll start to notice the hole closing as you pull tight. And then, like we did on the baby Bronto, just make sure you're going in every single front loop. It'll look the cleanest as well as be the most secure if you do that. So, all right. And then, like I do on all my projects, I just secure the yarn tail inside. All right, and then once you get it kind of finished off that way, you can move the stuffing, kind of manipulate them a little bit. But now we have the body. Oops. So we're gonna go ahead and grab our blueberry freeze blue to create the spikes. This is where we're gonna do a double crochet, and I will go through it in here. So if you want to watch a different video, you can, but I will go through it. So we're gonna start by making a chain of 16. You can do this however you want to. You can start how I do it. The easiest way to do it is to start it just like I do the magic ring alternative. So like this, because this is a chain too. And then just keep going. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All right. And then we're gonna be working backwards down the chain. So we're gonna start in this second chain from the hook. We're repeating these steps all the way down. So we're gonna start with a single crochet and then a double crochet. So for a double crochet, you're gonna yarn over. You're gonna insert your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop. So you should have 3 on. And then you're gonna yarn over, pull through 2. So now you have 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then we're gonna chain 1 and then slip stitch into the next one. And we're just gonna repeat that all the way down. So single crochet, double crochet, chain 1, slip stitch. Single crochet, double crochet, chain 1, slip stitch, single crochet, double crochet, chain 1, slip stitch, single crochet, double crochet, chain 1, and slip stitch. All right, and leave a yarn tail because now we are going to sew it on to the back. So go ahead and attach the longer yarn tail to a hook, to a yarn needle. Right. So as you can see, the starting point and ending point were the same right there. So when that happens, I personally like to tie a knot right here. Just one, for the security of it, and two, it just kind of gives it a cleaner finish right there. Instead of having 2 start points, it kind of makes it look more like that end. So I personally like to do it just to help with it, the look of it, but you don't have to. And then this one, we're just gonna kind of ignore him for now. We're gonna weave him into our T-Rex. All right, so as you can see on this one, we started right where that magic ring alternative is. So if you want yours to look like this, start it there. If you want to move it back, you can. So for ours, I'm gonna take it, just insert it right into that center of the magic ring. Pull it through, and then make sure that it's going the correct way, obviously. And then it's simple, you're just sewing in the other side of those chains that we worked all those stitches in. All the double crochets and single crochets, you're just working in the opposite side of the chain. So, and you're just going in a line down the back. So it's nothing crazy complicated. It's fairly easy. It is a little tough to go in a straight line, so just kind of keep an eye on it, make sure. And I'm just going down every row. Whoops. Nice and just easy to do. This one's definitely the easiest one as far as sewing goes. So if you don't love sewing, this one will probably be your favorite, but none of them are very hard to sew the things onto. Just keep going. And it will take up 90% of the back, so just be aware of that. You won't really have too much left at the bottom. All right, and then once you've gone in through that last stitch, I like to just, like I do on all the other projects, just weave it through. I like to bring it back up to the top, just so that it's there a lot. All right, and that's in. Oops, there's a fuzzy. And then, as far as the beginning yarn tail goes, just take your crochet hook and pull it into the body like that. So I like to leave the entire thing in, but there you go. Now you've got your adorable little T-Rex. All right, time to move on to the pterodactyl. I'm gonna go ahead and grab our purple yarn, and we're gonna start with making the pterodactyl head. So to start off with the head, we're gonna start with our magic ring alternative. And this one is gonna have 4 single crochets in it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And when it starts with 4, I don't like to add a stitch marker until it gets to 6 or 8, just because it's really tiny. So for round 2, we're going to do a single crochet and then an increase, and we're going to repeat that twice. So single, increase, single, then an increase. Remember to flip it, especially with a little project like this. It helps to flip it earlier because it's a little easier to work with this way. All right, round 3, we're doing 2 single crochets and an increase, repeating it twice. So 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, increase. All right. I'm going to tuck the yarn tail in there so that it doesn't get confusing. And I'm going to go ahead and add my stitch marker now. It's a little bigger. All right, round number 4, we're doing a single crochet and an increase, and we're repeating it 4 times. So single, increase, single, increase, single, increase, single, increase. All right, move that stitch marker. Okay, round number 5. We're going to start this round with 3 increases. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to finish with 9 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Go ahead and move it. All right, round number 6, we're going to be doing a single crochet and then an increase, repeating it 3 times to start. So single, increase 1, single, increase 2, single, increase 3. All right, and then we're going to finish the round again, 9 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, round 7 is just 18 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. All right, go ahead and move the stitch marker. All right, round number 8, we're going to start with 9 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we're going to do a single crochet and then a decrease, and we're going to do that 3 times. So single, decrease number 1, single, decrease number 2, single, decrease 3. round number 9, we're going to start with 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to do a decrease. And then we're going to do 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to do 2 decreases. So 1, 2. All right, at this point we're going to do the eyes. So this is going to be the front, and we want to place them between rounds 5 and 6. So make sure that you kind of have it going the way you want it. And then make sure that you like the placement of them on both sides. On this side, I went in between rounds 6 and 7, and then on this side I went between rounds 5 and 6, just because of the way the rounds are. I wanted them to be directly across this way. But if you want to, you can put it back so they're on the same round, but... Alright, go ahead, pop the backs on them. And then we're going to go ahead and add the stuffing. This doesn't really need a ton just because it's just so little. All right, let's keep going. Okay, round number 10 is going to be 6 decreases. So at this point I'm going to take the stitch marker out. This again, it just gets really small and you don't want to have to try and take it out after. So just make sure if you do that, you're counting. So decrease 1. Decrease 2. Decrease 3. Decrease 4. Decrease 5. Decrease 6. And then round number 11, we're doing 6 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then before I get really tiny, we're going to go ahead and just get a little bit more stuffing. It'll be really difficult with how small it is, but you can still get a little more in there through that small hole. So I just like to make sure it's got enough to get up into all the little areas. So just do your best, but if you can't, it's totally fine. I'm sure your pterodactyl will still look amazing. All right. Just do the best you can. Okay, and then we're going to finish off the round, or the head, and we're going to do, for round 12, we're doing a single crochet and then a decrease, and we're repeating that twice. So, single, decrease, single, decrease, oops, all right, leave a little bit of a yarn tail, and again we're going to hook it onto our yarn needle so that we can close it up, make it look pretty. Alright, and then we are finished with the pterodactyl head. So you can kind of move the stuffing around, shape it, all that good stuff. So you should kind of have a shape similar to this being the front right here. Just tuck that little yarn tail in. All right, now it is time to move on to the body, which is also super simple. So we're going to start with our magic ring alternative. We're going to do 6 single crochets in this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Right. Round 2, we're doing 6 increases. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, round 3, we're doing a single crochet and a decrease, repeating it 4 times. So single, decrease 1, single, decrease 2, single, decrease 3, single, decrease 4. And then round number 4, you're just doing 8 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Fasten off with a slip stitch. Leave a yarn tail because that's how we're going to sew it to the head. And then go ahead and give it a little stuffing, and then we'll add more when we're attaching the head. Because right now it's kind of hard for it to stay in. So you can just add a little bit right now, but all right, there's your pterodactyl body. Like I said, nice and simple, nice and tiny. All right. Let's move on to the feet. Also super nice and tiny. We're gonna start with our magic ring alternative. And we're gonna do 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I like to finish off with a slip stitch into that first single crochet, and your foot's done. Like I said, nice and easy. So you don't need to do anything with this one. We're gonna use the yarn tail to stuff it when we sew it on. So all right, we'll make a second foot. Remember, magic ring alternative, 4 single crochets, slip stitch, alrighty. Now we are ready to move on to the wings. Okay, so for the wings, we're going to start with our magic ring alternative. And we're going to do 6 single crochets in this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Right, go ahead and place your stitch marker. Okay, round number 2, 6 increases. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Move that stitch marker. Right, round number 3, we're going to be doing a single crochet and an increase, and we're repeating it 6 times. So single, increase, single, increase, single, increase, single, increase, single, increase, single, increase. Right, round number 4, we're doing 2 single crochets and an increase, repeating it 6 times. So 1, 2, increase, 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 1, 2, increase. Move that stitch marker. Okay, round 5, we're doing 3 single crochets and an increase, repeating it 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, increase, 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 1, 2, 3, increase. Alright, move that stitch marker. Round 6 is going to be 4 single crochets and an increase 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, increase. Alright, you can take the stitch marker out. And then for this round, we're going to fold our wing in half, and we're just going to single crochet across the top, but we're going through both sides. So to start round 7, we're going to start with a chain 1, and then we're going to do a double crochet right there. Then we're going to single crochet 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, chain 1, then we're going to double crochet again. And then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to finish off with 9 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Right. Leave a yarn tail for sewing. And now you have one wing complete, and let's make a second. Again, magic ring alternative with 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Place that stitch marker. All right, round 2, 6 increases. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Move your stitch marker. Alright, round number 3, a single crochet and then an increase, repeating it 6 times. So single, increase, single, increase, single, increase, single, increase, single, increase, single, increase. Right, round number 4 is 2 single crochets and an increase, repeating it 6 times. So 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, whoops, increase, 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, increase. With that stitch marker. All right, round number 5 is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, we're repeating it 6 times too. Increase. 1, 2, 3. 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 Increase. Okay. Move it up. Round number 6 is 4 single crochets and an increase, repeated 6 times. So So 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, increase. Take this stitch marker out. Okay, fold it in half. Right. Go, we're going to start with our chain 1. And then a double crochet. And then 7 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, finish off with 9 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whoops, 8, 9. All right, now we have all the parts of our pterodactyl complete. So we're going to go ahead and put it together. So we're going to start with the head and the body. It's just going to be the easiest two to start with. Then we can put everything on it at once. So attach the yarn tail from the body onto a yarn needle. And then you're just going to line it up. It's going to be real small, but it's just going to get lined up right in the middle. Oh, wrong way. So the part that has the magic ring alternative, that's the front. All right. And your yarn needle should be plenty long enough to hold the two of them together to help you out a little bit as you sew. So let's go. Just sew it on. Same way that we did the baby Bronto's legs. We're just going in a circle. Nice and easy. As of right now, there's no front or back to the body, which is why I recommend doing it first, because then it doesn't matter what direction the body is facing or anything like that. And then you can base everything on it after. All right. If you want to give a little more stuffing into the body, go ahead and do it before you completely finish it. I just like to stuff it a little, especially since we're adding things onto it. We just want the body to be visible, so I like to stuff it, but you don't have to. All right. And then go ahead and just kind of finish it off. I just like to secure it with like 1 or 2 more stitches into the body and the head, and then we're good. All right, next we're gonna do little feet, and the little feet are kind of difficult because of how small they are. So do your very best. Doesn't have to look perfect. You can always cut them off and redo them, re-sew them if you want. So, and then I'm just gonna cut off part of that starting yarn tail because it's a little too long to fit into the foot. So, okay. And then we're just gonna find the front. And with the pterodactyl, you can kind of pinch its head a little bit. It doesn't have to be super fluffy, all right? Find the front, and I'm gonna do the same thing. Just take your yarn needle, attach it. It works a lot better on this because it's so small. And then do your best. Like I said, it can be a little tricky because of the size, so do your best. Especially if you're still a little uncomfortable with sewing, if you're still trying to learn, the legs can be hard because they're kind of small. So just go at your own pace. You got this. Even for me, they can be a little tricky because you have to try and make sure you're going in the right spots to make sure it's all the way closed. So, right, we're done. I'm just gonna pull it out. Okay. Onto the other leg. So same thing, I'm just gonna kind of cut this just a little shorter, make it a little easier. Attach it to your yarn needle. All right, go ahead and start sewing. Like I said, once I get a few stitches in, I sometimes like to take those out just because, I mean, especially with the feet, they really can't change direction without it being perfectly fine. So, right. Alrighty, go ahead and cut it off. All right, time for the final touches. We have the wings going on. So we're gonna take our first wing, attach it. All right, so when you're attaching it, the pointed part is gonna go down. So grab your pterodactyl, and it's going down like that. And this is at the top, so I'm gonna put it right where the head and the neck meet, kind of right underneath the eye, maybe a teeny bit behind. And then we're just going in through those single crochets that we did across the top there. So it's actually a really easy one, and you're just going straight down. And you're just gonna go through a couple single crochets just to kind of keep it in place. Maybe like two or three of them, depending on how secure you want it on there, how much you want it to be able to move, things like that. Oops. All right. And then once you feel good about it, just do what you always do. There you go. Perfect. Go ahead and grab the other wing. Flip it. So then this one now looks like this. You've got the little feet right here, little wing, eye. Okay, let's do the other side. All right, go ahead and attach it. And then again, we're gonna attach it to where the head and the neck meet. Single crochets are facing down, so we're going to go through those. As we make our way down the body. Right. I like to go 3 personally, just because it feels a little tighter that way, but if you just want 2, you can totally do 2. All right, and then just like we finish all the other projects, pull it up and through somewhere else. All right. Cut off all the yarn tails, adjust them, and now your pterodactyl is complete. So now we have our pterodactyl, we have our baby Brontosaurus, and we have our T-Rex here. All right, thank you so much for watching this tutorial on how to create our very adorable dino pack. If you post them on social media, please tag us at Dokeys Crochet. I would love to see your guys' recreations of this, and we will see you guys later.